And I don't even have to change the stream title, which is a convenience I don't normally get. I normally have to change that shit. So we're once again going to be spending the remainder of the hour, I've got to get off at 12, talking about finance and specifically answering the at least 4 PMs that I've received regarding how various viewers of mine should invest their money, and I'm responding with an actual answer that doesn't involve answering them directly, because in every case of these people, when I probed, uh, I found out that they are in a living situation that probably doesn't favor them making investments in the stock market yet, because there are things you should do to prepare yourself to hit the ground running for doing that shit. And so we've been preparing this spreadsheet, and I'll make this available on the Discord when it's all done. But we've got this fucking dude right here. It's person one. We don't know what the fuck's going on with this guy, but we do know how much he's spending on various shit, and we're just adding more and more shit that gets spent money on. And our goal here is to figure out how much money we're spending every month, what this dude's spending and what I'm spending, and how much the minimum wage that person needs to make to break even on that shit, and then how to make changes to optimize the amount of fucking money that you have left over every month after you spend your money, and taking that money and doing something with it. And then what do you do with that money? That's it. So that is the plan that must be followed before any investments are done. And we've got this fucking column S here where I've been putting shit that is needing to be a priority for everybody who's fucking thinking about this kind of thing. The first thing is not to let the courts fuck with you, and that really literally is priority one. It is, oh shit, my parents are getting vaccinated. Fuck yes. Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah, I really can't say enough good stuff about that. They got the fucking good one, too. The same vaccine I got. It's awesome. Anyway, they're going to be sick tonight. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to make sure someone knows that they fucking are getting that, because they're going to be sick. Telling them to tell someone. All right. Sorry. I mean, I love my parents. They need to have a friend that knows that they just got their vaccine, because I'm telling you that shit, like, you're going to survive. You're not going to die from the fucking vaccine, but it's not pleasant. So, uh someone should know where you are and check up on your ass and shit. It's a severe vaccine, but it's definitely worth it. My god, the stress level is fucking gone compared to what it was. But anyway, back to this situation. Fucking never let the courts have any power over you. Pay it all, get out of the court system. They will fuck you. Then you want to reduce this. We're going to talk about how to reduce this today, and what fucking person one is going to do. We can even talk about how I can reduce it, although I've reduced it by so much compared to people in my income bracket. It's funny. I really don't need a lot of money, and I don't spend a lot of money. And that's one of the keys to success. No matter how much money you make, if you don't spend a lot of money, you're going to wind up steamrolling right on in. And then you got to get rent out of your life. I've already done this step. This is very, very, very important. It's your first investment. If you don't make this your first investment, you are fucking up, because you're throwing money away every month. So even if you're in a temporary place, like for example, when I lived in Japan, I should have been buying property. When I got out of school, I should have bought property. I should have bought property from fucking the moment I got out. 25 years old, I should have fucking bought a house. If I'd have bought a house and then sold it, and gone to Japan and then bought another house and then sold it, and then I would have come here and then I bought another house and sold it and then live in the place I live now, I would have another $350,000 that I spent on rent that whole time. That would be ridiculous to have all that extra money. But I didn't do that. Instead, I thought, oh, I'm on an adventure. I'm in a foreign country. I don't want to own property. That's too much hassle. I don't want to own property. I'm going to leave for Japan in a year. I don't want to own property. I just got back. Los Angeles properties are too. I should have fucking bought property and not paid rent. That's what I should have done. I could have fucking bought a property for $400,000 on a loan in Los Angeles and just sold it back, and I would have collected all my rent. I shouldn't have been fucking around with rent. So that was my error. I fucking made that error in my youth. I fucking passing that wisdom on to you motherfuckers. That was the wrong choice. No matter what your lifestyle, rent is a pretty lousy idea. If you can avoid it, you should. Then you've got your fucking non-mortgage debt that you also want to remove by any means. You definitely do not want a credit card. You do not want an automobile payment. You do not want a boat payment. You do not want a payment for a fucking mattress. You don't want any financing. Financing will fuck you. Financing is the way that banks invest. That's how they fucking invest their money, and then they just get a ridiculous amount back. The average mortgage that people take out, if it's a 30-year mortgage, it's going to take, and you're going to pay 3 times the amount that your house cost. And that second 2 times, it's going straight to the bank in interest. It's fucked. It's fucked the amount that you're actually paying off on your loan at these 30 and 20-year rates. And you need to fucking pay that shit off as soon as possible. Pretend it's a stock market, because it basically is. It's a guaranteed 4% return on your money, and everything you pay off on that is not paying off something that you don't get to keep. That money, it's yours. You get to keep it. You can sell a motherfucking house. So do that. Good morning, fucking Hatsune Michu. Michu, like you're gonna kiss instead of Miku, like you're gonna dance. That's out there. And hey, fucking Germany, I if you have to move to another country to buy a house, that's weird. Um, but every country's laws and banks are different. So if Germany is so saturated of a housing market, you can't get a loan because you can't get a loan. You have to put yourself in a position to be able to get it. Some people are buying houses in Germany. It is happening somewhere. So uh, if you're not in the category of people who can get a loan, you need to figure out how to put yourself in a category to get a loan. This is remove rent by any means. That includes the means of taking as much discipline as required to save enough for whatever down payment is required for whatever loan you do need to get a house. I'm telling you, getting that house, if it's that hard to buy a house in Germany, I'll bet the property values are going up. I'll bet you'd end up making money if you got in on it. So I don't know. I don't know enough about your country to really be definitive about it. But if you're paying rent, you're throwing it away. That's just the bottom line. It is being thrown away. And this was this was huge, removing this from my life. Removing this from my life made the steamroller really work. It's unbelievable what you can do with the money that you throw away on rent every month if it becomes your money, and it happens every month. So uh, that is it. Your auto loan and student loans need to be eliminated. I would eliminate your I would eliminate your debt at a very high priority. Yes, I would. And I would if you have the means to get a mortgage alongside that debt, I would get that mortgage, and then I would prioritize paying off that debt first and paying the minimum on your mortgage, following which I would pay more than the minimum on your mortgage. Because again, just being real, like, your goal is to get your monthly expenses to the lowest amount possible if you want to make things really work and you want to stop working. That's the goal, is to stop working. You're watching me on a journey that started 3 years ago. It's not long ago. 3 years ago when I said I'm not going to work anymore. I'm halfway done. I'm already halfway there. I've got 3 more years. You're going to see me. It's going to be a different story. And when I talk about shit like this, it's going to be in the past tense. But anyway, uh, that's how you get there. You have to get these monthly expenses to the lowest amount possible. The only way that you're going to really make the biggest contribution is removing this one. And I can't stress that shit enough about how much of a ripoff this is and how much these people are fucking bending you over. There is there's no argument that can be made to me that these people aren't bending you over and doing very wrong things to you by making you pay this. It's fucked up. I actually wrote a song called Rent that I played in Japan where I screamed at the top of my lungs for like 4 minutes. And it was a very popular song. I forgot the lyrics and shit. I should go get a recording of it and play it uh, for one of these. I should find that this week. And it's a fucked up song. I was very angry. But anyway, uh, it reflects my sentiment exactly. Anyway, uh, I've got to get a recording of that song. I've got several of them. I just don't know where they are. That's perfect for this whole thing. It was Stone City Orchestra was the name of the band that I was the front man of that band. We played that song. It was fucked up, but it was we had to put it toward the end of the set list, like the second to the last song, because it would fuck my voice up and I wouldn't be able to hit high notes after I screamed for so long. It was it was fucking crazy. Yep, you got to pay it. You pay the principal on that car loan and just get it over with as quick as you can. If you get those debts out of your way, then that just goes out of the way and you're done. And usually a car loan can be dealt with, but you should regret that because if you had bought a used vehicle, you would be out of debt right now. You'd probably have whatever extra you'd spent on that stuff, and then you'd be able to still drive around and do what you need to do. So that when we're talking about capital today, and what we consider necessary capital, that that involves your car, that involves your computer, that involves your water. It depends. It, when you remove rent, you get this guy. You get capital maintenance in there, and it becomes a part of your life too. And there's some additional things I threw on here. I put capital maintenance on here and subscription. So capital maintenance involves your need to maintain your critical capital. Your critical capital are things like your vehicle running, that's critical, and your computer running, that's critical. You're not going to make it without a computer. I mean, you might. If you're working in a factory or something where they provide everything for you and you're driving the office, you don't make any money with a computer at all. You don't need a computer. If I didn't have my computer, I would go broke. So I need it for what I do. It's part of making money. It's capital necessity is my computer. But uh, your maintenance on these items, upgrades for RAM, for example, or new hard drives, or fixing your brakes, or fucking fixing uh, your your fucking distributor caps and your spark plugs and your fucking cables and your fucking oil and basically everything in your vehicle that could go wrong. All that stuff is maintenance, and whether it becomes a service or whether you're doing it yourself is the difference. And it's really not that big of a deal. You don't have to learn how to fix cars, but you should try it. You should try to fix your own vehicle before you go out and have some schmo charge you upwards of thousands of dollars to fix your car when it's really costing a fucking like $150 part. You get a water pump problem, they're going to charge you like $1,000 for that. You can replace that shit for $150 with a fucking socket wrench and just do it. If you watch a YouTube video, I recommend you try to fix your own car. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Then you fucking have it's necessary service at that point. It's capital maintenance. If you own a home, your capital maintenance becomes interesting because you are going to have capital maintenance and all your capital changes. Your house is your capital, but it's got a bunch of tiny little parts in it. And you can increase the value of your house by investing in more into it. So you can buy a new water heater. If you've got a new water heater, your house is going to sell more than if you have an old water heater. If you've got energy efficient air conditioning, you're going to have a lower electric bill. And not only that, the house is going to sell also for higher if you have a newer air conditioner in it. All the shit that's in your house is going to fucking end up adding up to what the thing is worth and what you end up getting a sale value on the fucking thing. So doing things to the house, some are necessary and some are not. For example, if your toilet doesn't flush, that's fucking necessary. You're gonna have shit everywhere. You're gonna be fucking walking in shit, and it's gonna stink. You're not gonna be able to make that work. So it's gonna cost you even a trip to Home Depot or calling a plumber. Again, fucking learn how to fix your own shit. You're gonna save yourself a ton of money. But you should try to fix your own shit every time. Get on YouTube, type in what the problem is, what the brand name of the shit you're dealing with is, try to fix it yourself. If you can't fix it yourself, then you fucking have a service person do it and you pay out the ass. But that kind of shit, like even improving rooms, which is not that great. Like getting a new kitchen, that's a luxury. Like you don't really need that, but you are going to increase the value of your home by a percentage of what you paid. It's not going to be 100% of what you paid. If you put a $10,000 new kitchen in your home value is probably going to go up by $5,000 selling value because someone might walk in there and like the kitchen, and that can matter to them. Or they could walk in there and not like the kitchen and be like, oh, I'll put a new kitchen in there, and they'll factor that into their price, and you don't get anything for the kitchen. So, uh, really think about if you're doing things to your home, you are adding. It's partially an investment, but you are going to lose on it. You're going to lose on any investment that you put in your home. For the most part, is going to end up lowering. Uh, it's going to raise your property value by less than what you fucking put in there. So, yep, we're doing an Excel playthrough on this thing. Uh, Damn, I hate inspections, but inspection maintenance on cars is the easiest stuff to pass. Fixing light bulbs and seat belts and things doesn't involve the requirements of knowing how large engines work. So you probably can get all of the safety inspection stuff done. Emissions is hard. You can get a new catalytic on there, or you can do this thing where you get a DTC reader and you wipe the codes. So in Georgia, there's an inspection law. And I have a vehicle that I used to drive. It was a 2002 Toyota Camry, and it did not pass the inspection because the air quality was not good enough in there. It had a catalytic converter error on the DTC codes. And according to Georgia law, if you have an error on your DTC codes involving emissions, you can't pass the fucking inspection. So what you can do is you can clear the code out of your vehicle and it'll go into calibration mode and it will start measuring the air quality from zero. And it takes a week or two for the catalytic converter data to give the computer enough information to finally come up with a conclusion. So if you got that code cleared on there, when the person goes and puts that fucking thing, and it costs $10 to get this fucking DTC reader code clearer thing, so do that. It's ODB, I believe, reader is what it's called. But anyway, you fucking plug that shit into your car, and then wipe the code, go to the inspection place, and Georgia law says specifically that up to one instrument can be in calibration mode and still pass inspection. Otherwise, you have to drive until the stuff calibrates. So the catalytic converter happens to be the last code that doesn't reset. So I drive the vehicle until all the codes are giving data except for the catalytic converter, drive into the inspection station, pass. Legally as well, even though air quality wasn't what it was supposed to be, catalytic converter wasn't in the state that it was supposed to be in. It would have been $450 to replace that catalytic converter. Fuck that. Fuck that. So anyway, I don't drive that car anymore though because I moved to electric to remove the uh, dollars of gasoline that I was spending every month. And uh, so far, I am so glad I got my electric car used for a very good deal, and that's just fucking perfect. That's how you should do it. Don't ever buy new. Don't ever get a loan. Uh, Jesus Christ. That's good. If you learned from it and you lost some money, it ain't that big a deal. Uh, oh my God, rust does suck. You should paint or use anti-rust stuff and then protective coating on that. But in the end, yeah, welding. I don't have welding equipment, so if it came down to welding, I would probably wind up fucking I would probably wind up selling the car and getting a new car because the cars I buy aren't valuable enough for me to purchase the gas and the fucking tanks and the nozzles and the welding gun and all the shit you need, the lighter thing. All that sounds really expensive and dangerous. And all for what? To fucking fix some metal on your car? I'm not gonna do that. But I'd just buy another car if it got that bad. You can still sell a car that has rusting problems. But let's go back to here again. Uh, so that's what capital maintenance is. And usually when you have rent, you have very little capital maintenance. You basically have your vehicle. And if you're doing it yourself, it goes here. And if you're not doing it yourself, it goes here in services where you get ripped off. So your trips to Home Depot and your trips to AutoZone are going here in this capital maintenance. Since Homeboy here doesn't have currently the skills to fix his own shit, it's a zero. And for me, uh, I spend, I'd say, about $2,000 a year on different capital maintenance uh, that I do. I stain my own like property and my own deck and shit, and I repair like and weatherproof my own house, and I fix my own cars. I recently fixed a Ford Think out here, and so buying parts and instrument clusters on eBay and shit, all that shit costs money. So I would say whatever this is equals 2,000 divided by 12 for me. That's a chunk of change right there, but that is truly what I do. I also buy hard drives and shit like that. So, um, what's necessary capital? I would say your home, your car. You should only have one car. If you have a girlfriend living with you or a wife, you should have two car. If you have a 16 plus year old, that's up to you. I ain't even gonna put my finger in that pool. But you got your home, you got your car, you got your computer, and I don't give a fuck what you say. Your computer is probably the most important thing you have. If you're listening to this right now and you're gonna change your life, your computer already made you money too. So your computer is super important. You should keep it really nice. You should keep it running smooth, and you should buy it so that it is the best of what it is. This computer here, uh, I bought this computer before Una was born because I thought I might not never ever have money again. I was wrong. I was very wrong about that. But I thought, well, having a child might cost so much that I never get to buy anything luxurious anymore. So, where is it? Properties? Come on, where's my computer? Computer, where are you? I hate Windows 10 still to this very minute. File Explorer, I guess. Come on, where is it? I said File Explorer, you piece of shit. I want to show my specs. Fine, I'll do this. Is this is gonna black out the screen? No. Okay. So here's the task manager. This is good enough. It's close enough to show you what I'm dealing with here. So if we look at our CPUs here, I got 12 cores and 24 processors on this bitch. And it is rolling. And I've got tons of fucking memory as well. I think I got 32 in here, pretty sure, in this computer. I don't know if the memory's there. Yes, it is. 32 gigs, yep, of memory. So, and since I bought this 3 years ago, and this computer is still faster than any computer I've ever seen in my workplace, either workplace, I'd say I'm good to go. And I will probably not replace this computer for a very long time because things are just not changing in the computer space as far as they used to. They used to be 386, 486, Pentium this, and the computers would double in speed every 6 months. It ain't happening anymore. That shit. Yeah, no, that fucking Windows drive, that thing is full as shit. I need to buy another hard drive. My fucking 4 terabyte drive is full. My 8 terabyte drive is full. My fucking 2 terabyte drive is full, and both of my SSD drives are full because the D drive is an SSD drive as well. So I need more. So that's gonna go into the motherfucking capital maintenance. But if I don't do that, if I don't take care of my computer, then I don't make money doing a lot of shit. So very important shit. The home, the car, the computer. And then you can argue about whether your PlayStation is capital. I mean, it technically is, but it's not necessary. You can sell it. If you can sell it at a value, it's capital. If it depreciates over time, it's capital that depreciates. If it increases over time, your home's the only one that's probably going to do that. Then there's some collectibles as well you could consider to be capital, like Malcolm's video game collection, Byte Binge. His video game collection is going up in value over time. It is, but he never sells any of it. So like really it's just going up in value. But that's fine. So then you want to take an assessment of what your fucking net worth is. You want to figure out how much, if today someone came with a gun and said, "Give me all your money." How much money is that, really? And you're really literally going to die if you don't give it all to them. You've got to check out what your net worth is, and that is done by taking your capital, your debt, and your savings, and your investments, which also can be considered capital, but I separate it because I consider capital to be physical objects. I come from a different way of thinking about it's capital gains tax on your stocks and stuff. So people call it capital, but I am from the old school standpoint that capital is like physical property. But you add all this shit up and you get your net worth. So Home Dude over here, he's got his car, and his car is worth $4,000. We're just gonna say that his car is worth $4,000 and his computer is worth $1,000. So let's give him $5,000 worth of capital. And technically, he's got all his other shit that's probably not worth a whole lot, his furniture and other shit. You could take an estimate of how much your other shit is worth. It's probably not worth as much as you think it is. And let's say he's got $2,000 worth of other shit. If he had an estate sale that he could sell all that shit, and then his debt, we know he has $5,000 of debt because he's got a fucking car payment, so he's got that thing, and he doesn't have any savings. He's living paycheck to paycheck, and he hasn't got any investments. So his net worth is $2,000, better than I started out with 6 years ago, or not 3 years ago when I started this. No, it was 5 years ago when I actually literally was at negative. So, but I really didn't start trying to stop working until 3 years ago. But the 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 whole negative net worth thing that happened to me 6 years ago. I was 5,000 negative net worth because I had 5,000 of debt and I did not have any other stuff. I was renting and I had dick for property because I moved from Japan and there wasn't much property, and so that's where it all started. But Home Dude's got a net worth of $2,000. If you care what my net worth is, I guess I should put it on here, but that doesn't reflect my salary, so it's okay. For capital, I'd say that my house is worth about $220,000 at this time, even though I only paid $100,000 for it. That's what my property taxes are valuing at. And Zillow values it at $300,000, but that is a false valuation. I only take what the government's assessing it for as its valuation. I can probably sell it for more than that, but that's what it's worth. And it's paid, so I don't have to worry about that. The vehicle is worth 7,000 and 5,000 because I have two vehicles. So that would be 12,000, and they're both paid with no debts. And then we've got the debt of 0. I have 120, well no, I have technically $30,000 of savings, and I have $90,000 of investments. So my and then what other property I've got? I've got that piano is certainly worth $15,000. So there I've got other property. I'd say the rest of the shit in here, if I had an estate sale, it'd probably sell for about 15K, I'd say. So whatever all this shit adds up to is my current net worth. It ain't a whole lot compared to people who are retiring, but the point is that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what 367K, the current net worth, which is decent. But even if it's 2,000, you can still make changes to this to get things rolling. So we've got this guy with his minimum wage, and we've got him with his 50K, and we're trying to figure out what the difference is in these things and what are going to happen to his life to end up getting to a different place. So we've got headset is capital too. I'm gonna need to replace it. These batteries are not holding a charge. Or I could just get the batteries replaced. So this guy's making his minimum wage, his minimum to live, and we've got other stuff on here. We didn't talk about subscriptions. So like I have some subscriptions. I have Amazon Prime. I have the Xbox or the PC Game Pass from Microsoft, and I have a MuseScore subscription. I hate subscriptions, by the way. I fucking hate them. Most people have 10 or 20 of these things where they're Audible or like some fucking Wix website or any basically look at any YouTube video, whatever the fucking advertiser is for that video, KiwiCo, whatever the fuck it is. Whatever bullshit you're seeing on YouTube, that's a subscription. All that shit. People just buy that shit and they forget they even have it. Some people invest in Patreon subscriptions where they're supporting someone they like and they forget that they supported it, and that shit just goes on for years. They end up paying hundreds of dollars for something that's worth like maybe 40 bucks. For example, maybe someone's making a mod of a game that you like and you want to support the guy, but it's Patreon. So you kick him 5 bucks and you're like, all right, there it is. And then months go by. You've given him fucking $60. Now it's worth more than the fucking game he was modifying. It keeps going and going. And when people don't look at their fucking bank accounts and see what's going out, that's the problem. You gotta look. Look at that fucking account month by month and what's going out and stick it in something like this and figure out what you're fucking up. I promise you're fucking something up. I promise. I promise. If you have 0 subscriptions, Hatsune, you are fucking doing good. 0. And that is fantastic. That is ideal to have 0. I have some, but I limit that shit. I have calculated that Prime makes me money, so I'm actually okay with Prime. And the other things, MuseScore, I need. I mean, I just want that fucking. I want that piano music available. I want to be able to download it. I have the biggest remodified video game music for piano archive I've ever seen, like tens of thousands of songs, and that without MuseScore to give me a foundation for a lot of that stuff, it would be hard. And then fucking obviously the other subscription's important too. But anyway, we got this guy. His expenses. We're gonna change now what his expenses are without. He's at He's at $2,425 a month right now, and he's got a minimum to live and current. And I'm not saying you even need to live at the minimum. I don't live at the minimum. I live very, very low, but not at the minimum. His current is equal to all this shit. All this shit here, including his rent. That's a lot of shit. So there it is, 2465, and we also talked about what he would need. This changed here, so we're going to put this to 24,625. There we go. So he would need to be making $15 an hour to sustain his lifestyle at this state. And if he was making $50K a year, 50K a year would be 50,000 divided by 12, pretty much. After taxes, it's a little less. And that's another thing. After taxes here, this is also less. But with minimum wage, the cool thing is, or even $15 an hour, the cool thing is you don't pay tax. You get it back as a refund. So you can actually, even 50,000, you're only going to pay a little bit of tax. It's almost none. You're going to be taxed on the first. You won't be taxed at all on the first 24K, and you'll only be taxed a very little bit for the rest. But anyway, he'd be making $4,166 a month if he was making 50K a year, which means that living like that bastard could actually save. It's going to be 50K. Let's take the taxes out too. Let's tax him at 20%. It's less than that, but we'll tax him at 20%. And we'll see. So if he made 50K a year, he could actually save $900 a month and do something with it. And what he should do if he makes 50K a year is take this money that he is oh, this needs to go over here. I'm stupid. All right. So wage and difference. So this guy would have $908 every month to fix his situation. And either way, if you're on minimum wage and you're living the minimum, or if you're at 50K and you're living like this, you can work to change this. So let's see what happens if we change some of this shit. So first of all, let's say that home dude here fucking gets a loan, right? So he's already got a loan that sucks, but he gets a loan. Let's say he gets a loan for a house. Let's say he buys a house that's worth $120,000 and that he gets a loan that is a 30-year mortgage for $120,000, and they're asking him to pay $350 a month for fucking 30 years. So we'll put that in there as a new debt. It'll be negative 120,000 right there, and his now debt payment will be 35 plus 350. That's 385 of debt every month, and then this goes away. Now he's got 1,300 a month to have. Do you see how that works? And if he takes that 1,300 a month and adds it to this every month, this payment will go away in how many years? Let's find out. Because you don't have to follow the bank's shitty plan. So if he's 125K in debt, and that bitch is paying everything he can off of it, this divided by that, it'll take him 92 months to pay that bitch off instead of the 30 years that they want you to do. So this is like maybe 8 or 7 years. So you're going to save all that interest and you'll be golden. And if you reduce more of this, you can pay this off even faster. This is again a 50K scenario. We'll go through the very low scenario as well. But here's what this guy can really do. He's got this Steam expense. He don't need that. Maybe let's buy one game a fucking month. Put $30 there. Let's fucking get rid of this. No TV. No streaming at all. Nothing. You don't pay for subscriptions to shitty Twitch people. They don't deserve your money. You deserve your money. And you just get that off of there. And use the internet to consume media. That's good enough. Maybe they reduce the quality of food a little bit. It sucks, but you sometimes you just got to buckle down and make that happen. Stop going out to eat for the love of fuck. Make these services less. Spend $100 on essential services. Excuse me. We can work that electric car thing later after you pay off this car, but the truth is, if you're only driving local and your car payments get you a car that you can sell for $7,000 or less, you could change to electric car and get rid of this. But this is pretty much set unless you change your car. So we're going to leave that alone. And then this debt payment is set, and your insurance is set, and your health insurance is part of your paycheck. That's why I took 20% out of here. It's after taxes and removals that I'm on there. You've got nothing here, and you get rid of these shitty subscriptions as well. And now the guy is bringing in $19.28 a month, which means I should have done this. Oh, I did do that. Now he's able to pay his fucking debts off in 64 fucking months, which, again, 5.5 years. which is almost the pace that I paid my loan off. I paid mine in 3 years. Uh, but it's possible to do it. And again, this going away has changed the whole outlook of this 50K dude. So back to minimum wage dude, right? So this guy has to already, everything has to be essential, basically. So what do we have for total expenses now that this guy is here? 1405. What do you get in minimum wage? You get 1160. God damn, that's awful. It is a harsh reality if you're fucking making minimum wage. That is just the fucking reality of it. Uh, so what can be done to reduce this person's? Oh, his electricity probably isn't going to be this high, honestly. It's probably going to be like 150, just to saying, because it like he's living. Well, he owns a house now, so never mind. It's 200. And food. Again, you can eat less. That sucks though. Uh, this is really low. It's unfortunate how shitty this is. So this, let me, am I calculating this right? 40 a week times 4 weeks times 725. I sure am. And how did we get this minimum to live before? Oh, the debt wasn't on there. That's what's going on. So this debt is actually making this unattainable, which is horrible. So uh, that's fucking horrible. Now, if this guy was making 15 an hour, it'd be no issue at all. But this is pretty much the fucking case anyone would need to make about why uh, minimum wage ain't enough. That sucks. I was hoping I'd be able to take minimum wage guy and get him out of here. But the reality is, minimum wage guy can't take this much debt on, actually. Minimum wage guy would have to, at the very least, pay off the first debt before doing the next one, or would have to get a different kind of house. So for minimum wage guy, we don't get to have $120,000 houses, but minimum wage guy can get a $40,000 house or a $50,000 house, and minimum wage guy can move to a place where the home you get for that much is better. I hate the fucking thing I'm having to do to minimum wage guy because I'm having to move now. But uh, let's have a look at fucking a couple of these guys. Eating less. No, you don't. It's not eating less, Penny. You don't eat less. You eat less expensive food. You eat generic food. Instead of buying Italian spaghetti that is imported from Italy, you buy Kroger spaghetti. Instead of buying fucking marinara sauce from Prego, you buy a can of tomatoes and you put oregano and pepper and salt in it and you make your own fucking sauce. Like that's the kind of thing you do to save money on food. You don't stop eating. Do not stop eating. That is not the way. You start eating smarter and you start making your own finished goods for eating because like even buying fucking marinara sauce literally is buying a service in a way. You really are. Is you can pay literally like 60 cents for a can of pasta sauce if you use a can of tomatoes and you fucking make your own sauce. I mean, I've shown you guys how to do that and put it in your mouth, so it's doable. But what we really have to do, unfortunately, is we have to reduce this fucking value of this house, which sucks. But you can always upgrade, and you can always sell your house. So, minimum wage guy needs to fucking invest in less home, get a lower mortgage, and that should reduce this mortgage down to something like $125 a month instead of 150. So let's fucking do that and see how we fucking how that changes things. Now now our guy now our guy is pretty much making it. Now all our guy needs to do is blow a guy on the corner every month for an extra $20 and he's in there. In there. And the thing is, magic does happen at the end of this. He's still paying his fucking debt off in fucking like this ain't even right. Hold on. This guy, that's the other guy. That's our. Let's get our debt payment here as well. -45,000 and he's paying that's going to be still years. He's still going to be on the 30 years though to fucking do that. So that sucks. So at that point, the guy's got to do everything he can to try to make a little more, which does suck. Or he can wait the 30 years for this shit to be paid off and then sell it and get a better place. But you do have to crawl out of this. It sucks. There is no magic for the minimum wage guy. I was hoping there would be, but there ain't. You just got to cut everything you can out of this and figure out what can be cut and cut it. And you've got to fucking make sure that you're not paying that rent. Because if we switch this debt back to rent again, minimum wage guy can't even afford to be alive at this point. So we don't want that. But examine that bank account and get this lower because after you figure out, and hopefully you're not making minimum wage, maybe you are, maybe in your country minimum wage is different, maybe the cost of living is different, you got to figure all that shit out on your own. But if you are somehow in the fucking group of people that is not, after minimizing expenses to the very lowest, I did do that. I did do that, Pseudo Shaman. You are not wrong. Um, I was living off my savings in Los Angeles, and that was obviously a very low expense because I didn't want to. I didn't want to fail, but I did. Uh, Lottery tickets have to be cut off. You have to do it. You do need. Oh, the side hustle is very real. So that is another thing. If you've got some ambition, even minimum wage guy can fucking start really saving. Because at this point, we've got minimum wage guy here. You give him a side hustle, and now he can put money into this debt to pay it off quicker. I have one, two, three, technically, I'd say two side hustles I have going on. I got my fucking job in the medical industry. This is technically a side hustle, and then I, the stock management's not a side hustle. That's a whole different thing, and that is something you don't fuck with until you get all of this shit done here. Then you take the rest of the shit, and 60% of what you've got left over goes into a brokerage account, and 40% goes into a bank account, and you build those things up. The reason you want to keep some of it in a bank account is not to minimize your gains. It is to protect yourself in case something happens. Because you don't want to be pulling money out of your brokerage account if you have a medical emergency or if something you need to pay for that's got a bunch of money involved with it happens right away. You need to have something there. So that's what you do. And finally, you do retire when your income level reaches 150% of your conservative spend. And conservative spend is what I'm spending now. The minimum, not the minimum, but this amount that I'm spending per month right now at this point is not a lot of money. It really isn't. That's a take-home pay per week. I can survive at 1,000, like $75 every paycheck, which I think, I sure hope that most people are making that much money. And I know there's some people aren't, and that sucks balls for them. But in the end, other things you can do, actually, if you're minimum wage guy here, and I'm not even joking, I'm fucking serious. If you're working 40 hours a week and you are trying to struggle to pay off a $40,000 home and you are having trouble here, go to a fucking food bank. There's no shame in that. You're working. You deserve it more than people who aren't working. If you're literally struggling that hard and you have to fucking compromise with food, some of the way you could save it is go to a food bank. That's what they're there for. You can literally actually do that, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it at all because you are in a class of people at that point that need help. And get help. There's no requirement. You have to, when you go to a food bank, you don't have to sit there and give them pay stubs and stuff because then the people without pay stubs, what would they do? Uh, it's something you could do again to give yourself that edge. You got to crawl out of there. You got to crawl out of there. So even getting assistance, especially if you're working, there's no shame because you're doing everything you can. No one can bitch that you're a mooch because you're fucking working. So get help too. Do whatever you can to fucking get that income up and to get these expenses down so you can wind up uh, steamrolling, because that does happen eventually. Once your debt's gone, like once minimum wage guy's debt's gone, the thing changes. So once that 160 is out of there, and this guy's got fucking 45K of net worth, um, and this shit goes away. This piece of shit is now able to save. It's still awful. It's depressing looking at minimum wage guy. I really don't like it. I was hoping that minimum wage guy would do better than this. You could save $140 a month, of which, again, you would either try to buy a better house or you invest it. I would invest it at that point because your rent's gone. So I'd start investing it until it's time to do that. So $100 into your brokerage account and $40 into your bank account every month. And eventually, you will start making money on those investments. Eventually, and that'll steamroll. But it's bad. So if you're lucky to have a side hustle, or if you're making a normal amount of money, and you live like minimum wage guy, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to have insane steamrolling happening. Uh, that's when you invest, and that is the process that I went through. I went from having negative $5,000. I went and I worked for about 6 months, and I lived at this minimum wage level, which is this 600 this plus rent. So it was 1,700. It was more than minimum wage, but I lived at it, and I saved everything else until I had enough for a down payment on a house loan. And I put that down payment down on there, got that loan, removed that rent, and then every fucking month, all I did at that point was live below minimum wage because I didn't have rent anymore, and I was able to crawl back up out of that debt in 3 years, and then move forward to continue just piling everything that I make. And if you get excessive income, if you get raises, you change your job, you should always be looking for an opportunity to do better. Like if you have a minimum wage job, the truth is the thing you need to be doing is looking for a better job. You need to invest 2 or 3 hours a day. It's better than a side hustle to actually spend 2 or 3 hours a day looking for something better. You will find it. There are better jobs. They're out there. There are better jobs available right now. If that car that loan is for is good, you can be a delivery driver. You'd be making $15 an hour to $20 an hour easy in this market. Delivery drivers right now make decent money. Certainly enough money to fucking change this equation to end up being rolling in it eventually. So like there are moves you can make as minimum wage guy that will probably end up in a more pleasant work day for you, and probably wind up, unless you have a criminal history or some shit, they'll probably wind up with you getting hooked up. And a delivery driver is probably, again, in this right moment, is the easiest way to just switch from minimum wage to not minimum wage. You do have to pay for your gas and shit, and your capital depreciates the shit out of it, but you will make way more than in fucking minimum wage. And so just imagine, I want you to take a look, though, at the old bum uh, spend, which is, but in my opinion, this is not conservative. I am living a luxurious life with my $2,126 a month spend every month. That is luxury to me. The food I eat is insane. I drink beer out of a keg. I give my daughter whatever toys she wants and clothes she needs. Everything is taken care of. But the people I know who make the kind of money that I am making, they are spending five, six, $7,000 a month on their shit, and they somehow when I hear my colleagues say, "Oh, yay, it's payday," I'm like, "Oh, really? You care about the payday? That means they don't have enough money in their bank account to do what they want to do." So to me, that's like, well, I know how much money kind of you're making, and it's an insane amount. Why did you put yourself in a fucking position where you're waiting for payday? How did this happen? And it happens because they get into payment plans for fucking things they don't need, and they buy shit that just fucking worthless and that they don't need. Like fucking put a pool in their yard. You don't need a fucking pool. What are you doing? You fucking throwing your money away. Like go fucking swim at the aquatic center or some shit. You don't need that shit. That's fucking ridiculous. And but the thing is, rich people tend to want to spend their fucking money, and that's why they don't get richer. And if you're lucky enough to get yourself out of minimum wage guy's problem by any means, even if it's up to $20 an hour doing deliveries, don't make the mistake of fucking increasing your fucking spending. Sorry, I'm. Oh, it's done. It's